Prakash, Assistant Professor, Department of General Medicine from Sree Balaji Medical College and Hospital, Chennai. Today I am going to talk about acute renal failure or acute kidney injury, which is same as that. Coming to definition, acute kidney injury is a clinical syndrome characterized by an abrupt deterioration in kidney function leading to retention of nitrogenous waste products like urea and creatinine and other substances which are normally excreted by the kidneys. Acute kidney injury is a typically reversible condition when the underlying disease is treated properly. Acute kidney injury represents a medical emergency due to life-threatening biochemical disturbances like hyperkalemia, which may cause dangerous arrhythmias, which may even kill the patients. Coming to functions of the kidney and clinical manifestations which occurs due to renal failure. There is excretory function where kidney eliminates nitrogenous waste products like urea and creatinine. It also regulates water and electrolyte balance and acid-base balance, failure of which may cause nausea, vomiting, confusion, uremic pericarditis, edema, dehydration, hyponatremia, hypokalemia, hyperkalemia, and hypocalcemia. It may even cause metabolic acidosis. Kidneys also regulates blood pressure via renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. So in case of renal failure, then this blood pressure maintenance is affected, which may lead to hypertension or hypotension. Kidneys secretes erythropoietin, which is important enzyme for RBC production. In case of renal failure, there is a failure of RBC production causing normocytic normochromic anemia. Kidneys also activates vitamin D. In case of renal failure, there will be hypocalcemia, bone pain, and renal osteodystrophy. Kidneys also plays an important role in gluconeogenesis. So in case of renal failure, there will be absence of gluconeogenesis and patient may have hypoglycemia. This is a diagnostic criteria for acute kidney injury given by KDIGO, which is increase in serum creatinine more than or equal to 0.3 mg per deciliter within 48 hours, increase in serum creatinine more than or equal to 1.5 times baseline within 7 days of admission, or urine output less than 0.5 ml per kg per hour for 6 hours. Diagnosis of acute kidney injury is made if any one of the above criteria is met. Renal failure can be classified as pre-renal AKI, intrinsic or renal AKI, or post-renal AKI. Main mechanism of pre-renal AKI is reduced renal perfusion, which is caused by dehydration, congestive heart failure, sepsis, hypovolemia, and shock. Then main mechanism of renal AKI is by direct parenchymal injury, which may be caused by acute tubular necrosis, glomerulonephritis, acute interstitial nephritis, and any vascularity conditions. In case of post-renal acute kidney injury, it is due to urinary tract obstruction, which occurs in ureteric stones, kidney stones, prostate enlargement, tumors, and urethral strictures. Pre-renal AKI occurs due to reduced renal perfusion, which leads to reduced glomerular filtration rate, which causes accumulation of nitrogenous waste products like urea and creatinine. The causes of pre-renal AKI are conditions which causes volume depletions like hemorrhage, GI losses like vomiting and diarrhea, third space losses like burns and pancreatitis, then reduced effective arterial volume conditions like heart failure, sepsis, and cirrhosis. Then conditions which causes increased renal vascular resistance by causing renal vasoconstrictions like NSAIDs, hepatorenal syndrome. Usually, pre-renal AKI is reversible if perfusion is promptly restored. Prolonged hypoperfusion may progress to ischemic acute tubular necrosis. Coming to intrinsic AKI, this is due to damage to renal parenchyma, that is tubules, interstitium, glomeruli, or renal vessels. Causes are by acute tubular necrosis caused by ischemic or nephrotoxic injury, glomerulonephritis caused by post-infections in case of streptococcal infections, lupus nephritis in case of SLE, and any vascularity conditions. Acute interstitial nephritis is caused by hypersensitivity reactions to drugs like antibiotics, NSAIDs, PPIs, infection, and autoimmune causes. Vascular causes are renal artery stenosis, renal vein thrombosis, and malignant hypertension. Post-renal AKI is caused by urinary outflow obstruction anywhere from renal pelvis to urethra. Causes are ureteric obstruction caused by calculi, tumors, retroperitoneal fibrosis, bladder outlet obstructions caused by prostate enlargement or bladder carcinoma, urethral obstruction caused by urethral strictures or any congenital valves. The mechanism of AKI is by increased tubular pressure which opposes the filtration, thereby reducing glomerular filtration rate and it is reversible if promptly relieved. All types of acute kidney injury shares a final common pathway where there is reduced GFR leading to accumulation of nitrogenous waste products causing metabolic derangements like hyperkalemia and other symptoms. Whereas the initial pathway varies from type to type. In case of pre-renal AKA, it is due to reduced renal perfusion causing reduced GFR. This is functional and is completely reversible. In case of intrinsic AKA, the damage is due to tubular or glomerular damage. This is structural injury. In case of post-renal obstruction, it is due to increased tubular pressure caused by obstruction. This is also reversible if early treated. Coming to distribution of AKA, the most common type of AKA is pre-renal AKA, which amounts for 65% of total renal failure, and followed by 30% in case of intrinsic renal failure, and least common type is post-renal type, which amounts for 5% of total renal failure. Acute tubular necrosis is the most common cause of intrinsic AKA. The pathogenesis is any ischemia or toxins which causes tubular damage leading to necrosis and obstruction causing back leak of filtrate. There are three phases of ATN, which is oliguric phase, also known as initiation phase, where there is reduced urine output and increased blood urea nitrogen or creatinine. There is also acidosis and hyperkalemia present in this phase. Second phase is maintenance phase. There is persistent azotemia and complications like uremic encephalopathy, uremic pericarditis, fluid overload may occur. In case of recovery phase, third phase, there is gradual increase in urine output and risk of dehydration and electrolyte loss is present in this phase. Clinical features, signs and symptoms are due to accumulation of uremic toxins. In CNS, most common symptoms are drowsiness, confusion, seizures and coma. In skin, uremic toxins may cause pruritus. In GI system, nausea, vomiting and anorexia can occur. In respiratory system, dyspnea occurs due to fluid overload in alveoli. Coming to physical findings in renal failure, there may be edema, hypertension, raised JVP, pulmonary crackles in case of pulmonary edema, astraxis in uremic encephalopathy and pericardial rub in case of uremic pericarditis. Investigations in renal failure. The main goal of investigations is to assess the renal function, identify the cause of renal failure and to detect the complications of renal failure. The main key investigation in renal failure is serum creatinine and blood urea nitrogen, which helps us to find out the progressive deterioration in renal function when there is progressive elevation of these creatinine and blood urea nitrogen levels. Urine routine is one of the most important investigation in case of renal failure, which helps us to identify the cause of renal failure. In case of pre-renal failure, there will be hyaline casts present in urine routine and specific gravity of urine is more than 1.018. In case of acute tubular necrosis, there will be muddy brown casts present in urine and specific gravity will be equal to 1.010. In case of glomerular nephritis, there will be RBC casts and proteinuria present in urine. Clinical features based on types of renal failure. In case of pre-renal failure, patient will be having vomiting, diarrhea, hemorrhage and dehydration history. On physical examination, there will be orthostatic hypertension, reduced skin turgor and reduced jugular venous pressure and dry mucous membrane. In case of intrinsic acute tubular necrosis, there will be history of nephrotoxic drug use. Patient will be having muscle tenderness in case of rhabdomyolysis and there will be signs of underlying causes like ischemia, sepsis. In case of intrinsic glomerular causes, there will be history of lupus, vasculitis and any hepatitis or recent infections. Patient will be having periorbital edema, pedal edema and hypertension. In post-renal acute kidney injury, there will be prostate enlargement, urinary retention, bladder outlet obstruction symptoms. On physical examination, there will be distended bladder, palpable mass and enlarged prostate, flank pain. Other investigations in case of renal failure are fractional excretion of sodium, which helps us to differentiate functional versus structural causes of renal failure. In case of pre-renal failure, FeNO will be less than 1%. In case of intrinsic renal failure, it is more than 1%. Other images like ultrasound and CT MRI are done to evaluate for any obstruction or vascular disease if suspected. Other tests like electrolytes like potassium, calcium and phosphorus are done to rule out any hyperkalemia. ECG is done for any hyperkalemia induced dangerous arrhythmias. Renal biopsy if glomerulonephritis is suspected. Coming to treatment. Treatment for renal failure. There is no specific drug to treat renal failure. The general measures like underlying cause correction is the mainstay of treatment for renal failure. In case of sepsis, it should be corrected. In case of dehydration, appropriate perfusion should be given with IV fluids. Fluid management, in case of pre-renal AKI, fluid should be replaced with IV fluids. In case of volume overload, diuretic should be used or fluid restriction should be given. Sodium and protein intake should be restricted, and adequate calories should be given in case of renal failure. Nephrotoxic drugs should be avoided. Specific treatment for type of renal failure. For pre-renal failure, IV fluid should be given. For post-renal failure, obstruction should be relieved by catheter or surgery. For glomerulonephritis, immunosuppressants like steroids can be given. Complications of renal failure should be managed appropriately. For hyperkalemia, calcium gluconate and neutralized insulin should be given. In case of refractory hyperkalemia, dialysis can be done. For metabolic acidosis, sodium bicarbonate can be given. For hypocalcemia and hyperphosphatemia, phosphate binder should be given. Dialysis is final treatment when medical management fails for the complications and renal failure treatment. Renal replacement therapy indications are refractory hyperkalemia, refractory acidosis and fluid overload. Uremic symptoms like uremic encephalopathy, uremic pericarditis can be treated with dialysis. That brings me to the end of this session. If you have any doubts, please post in comment section.